every single booster pack. So
Yeah.
just to prevent any type of shenanigans,
Yes.
everybody's aware of every single card in every single booster pack. So this way you know that this booster pack came from these packs, and that's just to prevent any kind of nonsense from happening. Because, of course, this is a tournament with a lot on the line, and the best way to prevent any wrongdoing, if you will, is to basically make sure that you know what's in every single pack.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if you will hear the feed, but you will hear a judge calling the draft. So this is a call draft. It's time. The players have so many seconds to make each pick.
Yeah. Hron here, undefeated, 8-0, and ooh, that is a Sarkin there to kick things off. Now, the mid-range Dragon decks have proven to be quite strong. There's also a Jeskai Shrine Keeper.
Yep.
Lots of good options here.
Yeah, Jeskai Shrine Keeper's sweet.
But there's
Warden
also,
of the Grove.
yeah, I didn't notice it right away, but Warden of the Grove is also fantastic. We saw that Hydra just completely take over the game, and I think a lot of top-level players want to start out being base green.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be shocked if you take the Warden of the Grove. Sarkin is nice. It makes you a treasure right away, but I think I like the Warden better just because being base green just gives you the opportunity to end up in some of the more powerful wedges, some of the more powerful clans, so I do like this pick.
Yeah, you're a big fan of Temur and Sultai, and having played a couple of those myself, you have so much more options, so much more staying power in the late game. So
Absolutely.
We do like some green cards there.
Yeah, I like starting blue-green, either going into Temur or Sultai. Jeskai has also been fine, and also a good Mardu aggressive deck would be nice. Now, yeah, there is a Sarkin in this pack. It's kind of interesting to see what Hron is going to do here, just because he already passed the Sarkin, so that's something that he needs to consider. He could take Dragon's Prey, which is just a premium removal spell. I do think I like that more than the
Stalwart Successor?
The Stalwart Successor here in general. The Successor requires a lot more build around, whereas Dragon's Prey you can just splash for. Yeah. And just a solid pick here. Look, I already passed the Sarkin.
Bombs and removal,
Bombs and removal is kind of the name of the game here, because, and of course mana fixing, which is something that you're going to see around the middle portions of these packs. Pack 4, Pack 5, if your pack doesn't look that strong and you see a dual land or a tri-land or a monument, you're probably going to take it.
So at the Pro Tour, we chat about what the best draft archetype is. What do you think the players will shift towards, knowing that green is probably going to be one of the most contested colors?
Well, I think personally I do prefer Sultai and Temur, and any one of those is nice because those decks just let you grind into the late game very well. But here there's a Piercing Exhale and a Lion Weight, and given that you started out with a green and a black card, Lion Weight can be the direction that you go. But Micheal actually choosing to be a little more flexible there. Piercing Exhale is a great removal spell as long as you have a lot of creatures in play. A lot of times I don't have enough creatures early, but this gives you the ability to still stay open with green and black, and this gives the Hron the ability to also go into Abzan, right? You still just have green cards, cut off all the green, you have 2 solid removal spells, and you're just a little more flexible.
Nice. All right, we got the Relic, Desperate Measures as well. Scoured Barons pulled to the front there too. Abzan Devotee for splash.
It looks like he's considering the Scoured Barons and probably looking... That's an early pick, Scoured Barons, considering he doesn't even have any white cards here. It's possible Hron's looking to potentially keep himself open into moving into Abzan. Maybe he knows that Temur and Sultai are popular. Maybe he wants to avoid it. But that's a... Oh, wow, what a pack.
Jeez, this pack is great.
Yeah, that's a Molten Exhale as well.
Crikey.
Now, he does have a Dragon's Prey already, so I can see maybe taking the Sipsig Appraiser and looking to move it into Sultai, because if you take the Molten Exhale, you have a green, a black, and a red card.
Wow.
Ooh, okay.
People down the line are going to be gifted a Sipsig Appraiser.
Yeah, but the monuments,
they're great.
Mana fixing is really, really important, and Hron also valuing it very, very highly. Those monuments, I thought the format would be too slow for them. It's not.
No, it's
not. They are great. They just anytime you have an opening hand with 2 lands and a monument, you just feel so good. You just know you're not going to get mana screwed. Your game plan is going to be really smooth, and then in the late game, it just turns into more value.
Yeah. Stormplane Detainment, pull to the front here. Undergrowth Leopard, going to take the Stormplane. Yeah,
you do have the Scoured Barons already. You have a monument, so Hron's setting up for a really, really solid mana base here. Probably not afraid to going into 3 or 4 colors, because that's just the nature of this format.
Alchemist's Assistant in the front there, along with the Champion of Dusan. The Daciat Earthcarver at the back, a big old body. What do you think he's looking at here?
There's also Encroaching Dragonstorm if you
Yes.
really want to go big and try to make sure you have all the color fixing. But
Nice.
Hron actually looking to have a smoother mana curve there with the Assistant.
Yeah.
And but that's not the type of card that you want to splash. So when you take that and play it, oftentimes we're looking at possibly a green-black base, possibly splashing white, maybe blue if he does get some good dragons there.
Ooh, Whale of War I quite like. I tend to prefer the Mardu colors in this draft, but that's a pretty sick card.
Yeah, it's a solid value card, especially if you can get some Inox Survivalists, but no good ways to mill himself just yet, so it looks like he's just going with something else there.
Did you see what it was?
I
Didn't catch it.
Didn't catch it, no. All right, now we're getting to the point where we get some kind of filler cards to make the deck. There's a Champion of Doosan.
Charge, yeah, Champs are right.
Synchronized Charge is also okay. I think he's just going to prefer taking the creature here. That card is just totally fine, especially in Abzan where there's a counter sub-theme, and you just take that, and then you play it early, you trade with something, and then later on you can have some +1/+1 counters to go with it.
Loxodon, Battle Priest. I love this card. That speaking of counters, like the Warden of the Grove, that guy as well.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's gross.
Yeah, no, that's a totally fine card to consider splashing, right? If you're going to move into Abzan, that is a nice way to get your counter synergies going as well.
Stormbeacon Blade picked up there. These are all just like kind of, sure, maybe I'll play this.
Right.
Arishin Shield Guard. I'm not sure entirely what that guy's name is. And then we got the Krotik.
Yep, and then there's
the Embermouth Sentinel. That's cool.
the Sentinel, and then
push.
just the land there. So Hron's deck looks okay, but also keep in mind this is a pod where there are a ton of great players. These decks are not going to look like the decks that you kind of see when you go, hey, check out my deck. I got everything. I have 12 playables after pack 1. That is just not what you're going to see in these high-level drafts. So given that, all you just want is make sure that you have a decent mana curve with solid fixing and just enough cards to kind of round out your deck. You're not going to have 5 cards to cut, for example, in this format with a pod this strong.
Yeah, I think the card you missed was Strategic Betrayal. That's the exile a creature and then graveyard go bye-bye.
Yeah, so it's an Edict effect and also a really, really good card if you do play against, for example, Sultai, where they do, or Temur even, where they rely heavily on Renew and Harmonize.
Yes.
And having this as a way to just get something small and then exile the graveyard's nice. Now, it is at its worst against Mardu because they're able to generate some tokens.
Things.
They have some Endure. So that's a card. Maybe it's you could start it, but it's certainly a strong sideboard option.
Yes, definitely. Against 2 of the most popular archetypes in the format,
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Hron right now, it looks like he's going to be a black-green base, has a Sultai Monument, no blue cards, but hey, could still maybe play an island, maybe you get a dragon or something like that, and then of course has the Battle Priest there for, I believe, his only white card, and that's a decent card to have if you're looking to move into the counter strategy. Now, I have not been the biggest fan of Abzan in general, only because I feel like its late game prowess is not as strong as maybe being a green-blue base deck where you have access to a lot more card draw.
Alrighty, pack 2. Let's see what we got here. Tiratani back. We have a Triland.
It's a Nomad Outpost. Sage of the Fang, excellent card.
Kotis. Sidisi.
Yeah, not going to take the Kotis probably. I think Sage of the Fang is a really solid pickup here. It's just a nice 3-drop. It gives you value in the late game as well.
Ooh,
and
putting that on the Warden. Oh man, that's the dream.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Doubling the counters when you renew it.
Yeah, unless he really likes Kotis.
No. Oh.
Okay. All right. Well, he does have the Temur Monument.
Sure does, and does have a lot of ways to put counters on it. So.
Yeah. I mean, if you can turbocharge this, we saw Luis do some pretty disgusting things with this card, and he does have the Sultai Monument, and it's a really good blocker. So maybe Hron has a lot of experience drafting with. Is that the 3rd Sarkhan, by the way?
I think so. The 3rd one he's seen.
Oh
at least.
Man.
Sultai Devotee, another Doosan, Champion of Doosan.
Oh, and there's a really good removal spell there.
Yeah,
there's
Ireni's
a rally.
Rebuff.
There's a Ireni's rebuff, but there was also a rally, the modal spell that kills big things.
Riley the Monastery.
Right.
Yeah.
But Hron just making sure, not only that, just prioritizing a good mana curve of creatures. right?
Yes.
Oftentimes, it's really tempting to just take a bunch of the sweet spells and the expensive cards, but oftentimes you have too many of them.
Yeah.
And
You're
Hron
not
just
gonna
going,
cut
you know
them.
what? If I'm doing the counters deck, I need to make sure that I have enough creatures on curve
Yeah.
and kind of make sure I develop my board with creatures so that my fight spells are better and I can put +1/+1 counters on things.
Oh, I want to take that card so bad, but I know I shouldn't. Wow, there's some really good stuff in this pack. Not
Yeah.
any for him, unfortunately.
Right. There's another Devotee, but that's not the type of card you really want to take second and third. But hey, it does
It's
work.
a Death Toucher.
It's
so.
a Death Toucher. It gives you good mana fixing. It helps you fix for the Kotis.
Yeah.
And it does interact favorably with the Piercing Exhale that he
Yeah.
has in his deck as well.
Being able to kill something massive with a Death Toucher is always a good feeling. Wow, okay. Desperate Measures. Oh, Reputable
counters.
Merchant's not bad. That's playable.
I can never say that card, by the way.
What?
Defibrillating Current.
Defibrillating Current? Yeah.
I have to pause for 5 seconds.
Say defib.
I always add an R. Defibrillating.
Defibrillating.
Yeah. All right, are we gonna get the +1/+1 counters creature here? Maybe wow. These are some. These are fine for your curve, but these are kind of underpowered picks relative to all the other cards that we're seeing here. Again, it does look like Hron is really prioritizing having a really solid mana curve instead of just going for pure power.
There's a Pack Beast in there. Delcoven Pack Beast.
Ooh,
Yathan Tomb Guard.
Okay, so Yathan Tomb Guard with all the +1/+1 counters things that
that's
Hron's working with, I think that's going to be the pick for him. That does allow you to get a lot of card advantage.
Absolutely.
And I think that is an excellent pickup here for Hron.
I'm not sure how to say that. Yathan.
Yathan.
Yathan. I'm sure someone in the chat can.
We can say it
correct
just
us.
a different way every time we see it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that works.
Great. Okay.
Okay,
Ooh,
another one.
Ooh, Blossoming
Sands this is probably around the time where you are looking to pick up some mana fixing. So Blossoming Sands can certainly be good. Or Hron just goes, look, I'm just going to take another Reputable Merchant and focus on my mana fixing elsewhere. Just will say, Reputable Merchant, if you play it on turn 4, it's just not that strong. But so you really just kind of want your mana to get there. 4 mana for a 2/2 that adds a +1/+1 counter onto something is not ideal.
Nah.
But if you can play it on turn 3, it is pretty strong.
Okay.
Oh, well, there you go. There's a
fixing.
Scoured Barrens.
Yeah.
He's going to slam that one.
So what's that? Coordinated Assault? Is that the one?
Maneuver?
Coordinated
maneuver. But this is a great time to pick up the Scoured Barrens here. I believe that's his second dual land. So he has 2 Scoured Barrens, green-black base with a light touch of
like
white.
A white splash.
Yeah, there's a Battle Priest and then the 2 merchants.
Yeah. There's also the Enoch, I don't know, sorry. Arishan Shield Guard or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
The tapper guy.
You can possibly play that.
Yeah.
Not ideal, but you can still get that in. But it does look like Pack 2 just wasn't the strongest here for Hron. Just the Tomb Guard was okay, but
didn't really get any goodies.
You really want kind of the signpost
Yeah.
uncommons, and we just haven't seen too many of them.
That was the Bone Cairn, something Butcher Horde guy. He's a pain in the butt to play against, I know that much. But it's a Mardu card, so I'm not sure if we'll actually see that.
Here
played.
we see a Sidisi and a Nightblade Brigade. The Brigade has actually been surprisingly solid, just as a 3-mana 1/3 Death Toucher with Surveil 1. Even in a non-Mardu deck, I have liked it a decent amount. But actually going for Sidisi here, we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, Bone Cannon Butcher, the previous pick. A Baitor would be wonderful.
Given what I've seen from Hron's draft, that champion definitely taking Champion of Doosan here. 2, 3, 4. And now probably taking the Adorned Crocodile. That triple black rare is probably...
Please don't take
It's just going to be a little too hard to cast, and the Crocodile is totally fine here.
Adorned Crocodile makes you some friends. He's got Renew synergy too.
Right.
I like Desperate Measures, but the mobilized creature is also not bad.
Yeah, I like Desperate Measure. It's a fine sideboard card too against smaller creatures, but I like it more when I'm in the Mardu deck and I can sacrifice my mobilized tokens to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, J-Cost Sentinel and Wild Ride to wrap up Pack 2 there. So that was pretty medium.
Yeah, I would say this was a pretty mediocre pack. I will say Hron, if the one thing that he has going for him in this draft is he just got a good curve. He's got lots of 2s, lots of 3s. He's got some removal. I don't even see a ton of tricks. He's got okay mana, but it does look like Abzan was not necessarily the most open.
Yeah.
at least in Pack 2, but hopefully he can turn things around in Pack 3. But this is definitely kind of where he's at. Now, he does still have the ability to splash blue. We saw him take that Kotis, and he does have the appropriate mana fixing for it. 2 Sultai Devotees and the Monument. He's 100% going to play the one island to not only sacrifice the Monument, but of course play the Kotis, and still keeps himself available if he does open if he opens a Teval, for example. You better believe he's going to take that and put that into his deck.
Yeah, Teval is sweet. Come on, Opulent Palace, one time.
Teval first.
Okay,
Teval first, then the Opulent Palace.
Gotcha. All right, so putting in our requests for Pack 3.
Yeah. And as far as interaction goes, we're looking at a Piercing Exhale and a Dragon's Prey.
Not too bad.
Not a ton beyond
Nothing
that,
else,
though.
I mean, Desperate Measures you can use as a removal spell, but it's not ideal.
Yeah.
You want to get the 2 cards off of that, rather. So players get to look through their pool because you cannot consult it during the draft.
That's right. And that's one thing, especially if you're going to practice for events like this. If you draft on other clients, just if you want to practice, just don't look at your cards.
Yeah, you're
right? Just hide your cards, and that's good practice for events like this.
All right, Pack 3, or Pack C, as we see on the envelopes. Let's go.
Teval. He just wants a dragon.
Teval or Baitor, let's go.
Baitor Ugin, maybe?
Ugin's meh.
I'll take an Ugin.
I beat an Ugin yesterday.
Oh.
Luis beat an Ugin yesterday.
Okay.
He's old news.
You know what? I'll still take the Ugin.
Yeah, probably.
He needs some top end, I think.
Yes. We need some bombs now.
I will say somebody else is definitely in the counters deck as well. It does feel like there's at least one more Abzan drafter.
Oh.
Oh, hey, that's an
Awaken the
Abzan
Honored
rare.
Dead, yeah.
Yeah, no, that card is great. There's some solid uncommons as well, but he's got to take the rare here, right?
Yeah.
The 2-drop is also strong, but that uncommon, it makes basically 3 1/1 tokens. And then,
no, wait, that's Rival the Ancestors.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of Awaken the Honored Dead.
Yeah, that makes 3 1/1 tokens, and then you get to distribute 3 counters. So for 4 mana, you get 6 power and 6 toughness worth of stats, and you're already going to be Abzan.
Yeah, go for
This
it.
just has so much upside. And I know Atron's probably going, well, it's not easy to cast, but going to put it in. It just does so much work in his deck. Imagine playing a Yathin Tomb Guard and then playing that turn 4, right? And just all of a sudden you have a million creatures with a bunch of +1/+1 counters.
Yeah, because it's each creature with a counter on it.
Right, exactly.
Ugh.
Might kill yourself.
Yeah, well, hope not.
Yeah.
Oh, Dragonstorm Globe.
Yeah, this isn't necessarily a Dragonstorm Globe. That's
Anafenza!
That is an Anafenza here. I think we're going to be
yes,
looking
yes.
to take that one. Dianoc Wayfarer is totally fine card. Ooh, and these
Static Snare.
Static Snare is also
Yeah.
a really, really good removal spell, but Anafenza is just so strong, especially in Atron's deck where he's just curving out attacks with his Death Touch creatures. People go, okay, I guess I'll block and trade. And you're like, all right, play Anafenza.
Wee!
All
Endure
right.
2, baby.
Okay, so Pack 2 is starting off
This is
wonderfully for Atron, and he needed it. He
Yeah.
needed the help, and he's starting the draft off with 2 rares is awesome here.
Excellent stuff here so far for our featured drafter, Micheal Hron, our Pro Tour Geneva winner. How many years ago was that?
Oh my gosh.
Early 2000s?
Over 10.
Over 10, yes.
15 maybe?
We've got the maneuver there. Pretty sweet piece
Oh,
of
he's
removal.
absolutely taking the maneuver
Yeah.
here. He only has 2 removal spells in his deck. So I think the maneuver, not only, it also puts a +1/+1 counter on something too.
Knockout maneuver. Let's go,
Knockout
baby.
maneuver or Felling Blow out of Foundations. It's the exact same card.
Yeah, basically.
Really, really good card. And Mike just definitely needed another interactive spell, and this is a really, really solid pickup here for him, especially with the 2 Sultai Devotees in his deck.
Yeah. Oh, Death Touchers, go. Okay, let's see. I always like the beginnings of the packs because there's always goodies to choose from.
Because there's good cards in the pack. I like the first half of the packs way better than the second half.
Oh, yeah. Heritage Reclamation, another Merchants.
Another Merchant.
Kintree Nurture is not bad.
That's okay. Ooh, Sonic Shrieker.
Merry Christmas to whoever's those colors.
Probably can't take that. Ooh, there's also, I think,
pack beast.
this might be the time, though, to be, the Blossoming Sands might be the quote-unquote responsible pick.
Yes.
Just because you have so many of those white cards. Yeah, I like it.
Sands. Yeah, good job.
If Marshall was here, he would say this is eating your vegetables.
Yes.
That's an eat your vegetables type of pick.
Pretty sure Marshall's watching.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Limited? What?
No, he's going to watch the draft and then leave.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's all. I mean, that to be fair, a lot of people just like drafting and they don't really like playing the decks.
Well, but if you like drafting, we're going to cover another person here, so don't go anywhere.
Yeah, we got 2 featured drafts in this round.
That's right. I think that's
Corroding Dragonstorm.
yeah,
That's the black one. Yeah.
I think he's probably going to take the 2-mana creature there, the Einok.
The Enoch Wayfarer or something.
Yeah, unless he wants to splash for the trick here, but I think you just want another 2-mana creature. Also, if you don't need the land, the +1/+1 counter might be relevant too. I think you're just going to take that.
And there's a couple of renew things in his deck already, so if you chuck some stuff in the bin, that's not the worst.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that card is just full stop one of Green's best commons. This card is a very, very solid card, especially if you have renew or harmonize effects to play.
Another crocodile.
Whoa!
Oh, Sibsig again? Wow.
Yeah, by the way,
we're not there.
Sibsig Appraiser is kind of the mythic common of the set. It is, I
Organ
think.
Hoarder 2.0.
Yeah, Organ Hoarder 2.0. I do think it's the best common, and it is an extremely, extremely strong card. Imagine playing that card too, by the way, and getting a spell and putting a renew card in your yard. It's almost like you drew 2 cards.
It's crazy. Whale of War picked up now, so either a good way to kill the Mardu decks or get back some of your best creatures.
Or if you don't main deck it, it's an excellent sideboard card against controlling decks as well. Okay. Oh, wow.
Merry Christmas.
Seeing a bunch of Sultai cards here. You could potentially
play
splash
Karu.
that.
Yeah,
with double Sultai Devotee and the Monument, that's something that you can consider. There's also Snakeskin Veil, which could be decent here just as a way to protect. He doesn't have that many tricks.
Yeah,
so
true.
playing the first Snakeskin Veil has a lot of value, but actually, just playing a 4-mana 3/3 dragon, is that Dragonback Lancer?
Dragonback Lancer is that effect. Yeah,
wow, that's actually a little bit surprising going for, I guess, Hron thinking he needs another just creature in his deck for his curve.
Yeah.
And hey, a flyer is a nice thing to put a bunch of +1/+1 counters onto.
Aggressive Negotiations is actually pretty good in this deck too. There is a Leopard, which is good for killing artifacts and enchantments.
Yeah, I think the first Leopard has a lot of value, especially in kind of this best-of-3 setting. So just having one in your pool is just very, very important.
Yeah. And it's a good kitty. We saw it do some work yesterday. Oh, another Pack Beast.
Yeah, Pack Beast is great.
Yeah.
It's just
Salt Road Pack Beast. Easy pick.
The only thing here is just how many planes is Hron going to play? Because he does have a fair amount of white cards. But I think you can maybe play a bunch of forest, maybe more planes than normal, and then rely heavily on your Sultai Devotees for your black mana sources. And do something like that. Ooh, another Wayfarer. Oh, right.
Nice.
It does look like Sultai was also pretty open from this side. That's another direction that he could have gone. We did see some late Sibsig Appraisers, and you should not be seeing that card generally that late.
Makes me wonder how blue the table is as a whole. Delta Blowflies or Bloodflies. That's only real pick in this pack. Could Aurora Possession, but it's not great.
Yeah, I mean, this is pod draft too. You could just hate draft something, right?
True.
You're just playing within. Usually you don't do that if you're just doing a league or anything like that. But here, ooh, wow, remember those Devotees? He was taking those second and third pick in pack two. And now he's going to not take it here? Yeah.
Heritage Reclamation.
Yeah, just look. Hey, you need good sideboard cards.
Yep. Another Crocodile, sure, why not? And last one, missed what that was, but
I think that was a River Wheel Technique or something.
Perhaps, yeah.
And that being last pick is also surprising. So
I think the table's blue, very blue.
Yeah, I will say it does seem like Hron. It did seem like blue was the open color.